on, guys? Well, today I'm going to do a review on this Benchmade model 746S. This is the mini Onslaught. This is a Bob Lum design for all the people who are heavily involved in the knife community. Of course, you know Bob Lum passed away back in 2007. I think it was in December. Very huge loss. Bob Lum was a very, very influential knife designer and knife maker in the knife industry. You know, he's the guy who pretty much brought us the Tanto blade. You know, a lot of his designs were very much Japanese influenced, you know, Japanese style knives. And like I said, he was like the godfather of Tanto knives. He brought that style here to America. Just really, really wonderful guy. A lot of really cool knives out there. The full-size Onslaught, I believe, came out sometime around 2011. I'm not sure when the mini Onslaught was introduced. I know later Benchmade decided just to do a smaller version of it. And that's what this is, the small version. So if you like this knife but tend to go for bigger knives, you might want to check out the full-size Onslaught. So a quick rundown of some specs here. Our blade is 3.4 inches, is 154 cm. Very good steel. I'm a huge fan of it. It is marked on the back of the blade here. Okay, as well as you can see Bob Lum's maker's mark. Our handle here is 4.4 inches, it's G10. They do have metal liners, all right, 7.7 inches overall, and it only weighs 3.9 ounces. And what's helping contribute to the lighter weight is the liners are drilled out. Okay, there's a lot of lightning holes in there. If you get the light right, you can see those right on the top and on the bottom. So basically just big holes drilled out of the liners, so you still have the strength of the metal, but you don't have the extra weight. What's really nice with metal liners, especially if you do G10, you get a lot more strength in the pivot here if you have any kind of torquing motion. So if you dig into something to cut it, and as you're pulling it out, or God forbid you're prying with your knife, whatever, as you twist and torque this whole pivot area, much less likely to have any kind of cracks in the G10 or any breakage or problems. All right, so I do like you know, knives with metal liners, but I mean, some people, they're fanatical about the weight of a knife. So if that's an issue, obviously you want to go with knives that just have, you know, just G10 or whatever. They don't have liners. But really good job on the lightning on this one. As far as the like overall design, it's really nice. It's very comfortable. You know, it kind of reminds me a little bit of a like gun grip. The whole thing obviously comes down and slopes out here. There is a finger choil down here a little bit lower, which is nice because it gives you reach. So if you're using this for defensive purpose, it's very comfortable to get more reach on the knife as opposed to choking up. If you do choke up, obviously this little ramp here on the spine would help, okay, either with your thumb like this, or if you want to have a little more manipulation on the tip of the blade, you can choke up your pointer finger. If you notice, the spacer on the back of our handle here is perfectly rounded, which is really, really nice. Adds like a little touch of class, which is cool. Okay, so it's kind of a almost a 3/4 enclosed handle. So I want to make sure you keep all the dirt and dust and stuff out of there. But what would have been nice, and I understand this adds to production costs and all that and the price of the knife, but because this was rounded here, it would have been really nice to see this portion rounded as well, so it's even more comfortable to choke up on that blade. It would have been a nice addition. But going back to the blade here, very, very aggressive design. I really like it a lot. Super cool. I like the huge swedge. It's very pronounced. Obviously, it's not sharpened at all. It's just, I don't know, sexy looking knife. I like aggressive looking blades, you know, mean looking knives, and this is a mean looking knife, to me anyway. What I do like about this, even though this is the combo version, which is what the S is in 746, the model number, the S stands for serrated, or in this case, combo edge. What's nice though is that the straight edge portion of this blade is pretty broad and it's a constant curvature. So it's a huge belly, comes to a nice sharp point. So this is a great slicer. Never even touching this, imagining that doesn't even exist, that's your blade right there. Still extremely capable knife, which is nice. I tend to use, on combo edge knives like this, I tend to reserve my serrated portion here for just, you know, extra tough stuff that I don't want to dull out my straight edge. For example, zip ties, that's a big one. If you have accessibility to like you know, zip tie cutter or wire cutters or whatever, you should use the proper tool. Even if you just take pliers and twist the zip tie, depending on what it's wrapped around, you don't want to damage it. But most times than not, you can just twist that and it'll snap, you know, it'll break. You don't have to cut through them because it will dull your blades fairly quickly. But if I have to cut something extra fibrous or whatever, obviously the serrated portion of this knife will excel in that cutting task. So it's nice it's there. I just really prefer plain edge blades. I'd rather have a full run of serrations or a full run of a plain edge. I don't tend to like the combo edge. But as I mentioned before, I think in a comment, I don't know how many people saw it, but people ask, like, you know, a lot of people don't like combo edge. Why do they make so many knives with combo edges? Because they look cool. It looks aggressive. People want the, you know, the plain edge blade for most of their cutting, but they like the idea that if they need some, you know, to cut something extremely fibrous or cut through some thick manila rope or something like that, that they can do so easier with the serrated edge, and they use it kind of like a saw, you know, so it's a more aggressive cutting part of the blade. Not to mention, if this dulls out, the nooks and crannies inside the serrations will generally stay sharper because they're not coming in contact with cutting surfaces, you know. That's why a lot of our kitchen knives are serrated, for that exact reason, especially like steak knives. But anyway, yeah, I mean, I like the design. It's comfortable when you hold the knife. You know, where the finger troll here is a little bit lower to the pivot, okay? So you're basically choking down on the knife. It is comfortable in the hand. I wish there was a little bit more handle, so I would probably much prefer the regular full-size Onslaught as opposed to this mini. But it's not like ridiculous. I don't feel like I'm missing anything. My pinky still kind of grabs onto the end of that handle there. But it is comfortable, and like I said, if you do want to choke up, you do have that ramp on the spine of the blade there, although not as comfortable with the flat front end here. I would have liked if maybe it was a double choil, or I guess for my own preference, I'd like the finger choil here to be a little bit higher towards the pivot. But you know, little nothings, just personal preferences. I like the classiness of something as simple as this pivot collar. Okay, the little metal that's around the pivot. It just adds to it. These are nice little touches. This is what brings this knife up in this price range, which is 150 bucks. Well, 140 to 150. Now, a lot of people, unfortunately, are dissuaded from Benchmades because they tend to be more expensive. I mean, they are made in the USA, up in Oregon, and that's, of course, going to raise costs on knife making. But I remember back in the day, this has nothing to do with this knife, but just because I'm talking about it, my favorite Benchmades have always really been the Red Class line because they were so affordable. 30 and 40 bucks, you can get a Benchmade design made overseas. They're all made in China and Taiwan and stuff, but they had really good quality control. One of my favorite Benchmades of all time, I mean, I shouldn't really say my favorites were the Red Class. I really like the Red Class, but I do like the 941, and there's a couple other Benchmade models. Of course, the Griptilian's a classic. It's a favorite of mine as well. But I would say that the value you got from the Red Class was just through the roof. It was awesome. Benchmade monochrome, the Vex, I mean, some of these knives from back in the day, they were great values. The monochrome was one of my favorite Benchmades of all time just because, like I said, it was like 35 bucks. It was an all metal knife. I loved it. That's the knife that I chose and used on my trip with my grandfather across the US. I love it. I totally miss it. One day I will definitely get a monochrome back. I'll have to hop in the forums and do a trade or something. But yeah, I mean, it was a good value. They no longer have the Red Class, you know what I mean? So when you talk about Benchmades, you're talking expensive knives. You know, I remember back when I could get a Griptilian for 50 or 60 bucks. Now they're 90 bucks, you know? This one coming in at 140 to $150. It's out of a lot of people's price range, which is unfortunate. But I'm here to say that I'm still a fan of Benchmade knives, and I still think that they do provide quality cutlery. You know, for 150 bucks, you're not getting a piece of crap knife. This is a good, solid, usable knife. The 154 definitely performs very well. The axis lock is super smooth. Obviously, people are very familiar with that. It's just really cool. And then obviously, you're just picking different designs that you like the way they look, and they're going to perform better for your specific needs. In this particular knife, the opening hole, which is very nice, the round hole, obviously we know the benefits of this. It's easy to get to. You don't have to worry about trying to find the stud. More so if you're wearing gloves, if you're using this outdoors and you have thick, heavy gloves on. Using thumb studs tend to be a little bit more difficult, and thumb discs, so the opening holes are much preferred by people. Not to mention you can still flick it out if you want to. You could do the old Spidey drop where you hold it upside down and kind of swing the handle out to open it. You know, sky's the limit, but a lot of people prefer these. I mean, Spydercos in general, because they all have the opening hole, but even the Benchmade models with the opening hole, people like quite a bit for those reasons. Just easy to get to, kind of hard to miss. In this particular case, a lot of people who have Benchmades with the axis lock, they don't even touch the blade ever. They'll, you know, pull the lock down and swing the blade open. And same thing to close it. Pull it down and swing it shut. Very convenient, easy to use. There you go, make your cut, shut it, you're good to go, right? So the opening hole is just a nice bonus, but a lot of people that like the axis lock like it because they never even touch their blade. They swing them open, swing them shut. As far as the pocket clip here, totally functional, great retention in the pocket. Again, because it's landing on the smooth G10 here, it's easy to get in and out, but it's not loose on the pocket at all. It holds really nicely. I'm not a huge fan of just this design kind of hugging the whole bottom of the knife here. It just looks a little unfinished. I mean, it's such a beautiful, classy knife, and I don't know, I just think it takes away from it a little bit. Personal preference, I guess. One thing though to very much notice is that it's a bigger, thicker clip, which is nice as far as retention, but if you're trying to be discreet and you don't necessarily want people to know that you have a pocket knife on you, this will definitely reflect a lot of light. If you're walking around on a nice, beautiful, sunny summer day, this thing is going to be shooting light everywhere. It's going to draw people's eyes to your pocket to see what that is. You know what I mean? So again, if you're carrying this for defensive purposes, or you, like I said, just prefer to be discreet, don't necessarily want people to know you have a pocket knife on you, not the best option, not the best choice. As far as how it looks when it carries, it's that, obviously, plus, all this extra stainless, this nice, beautiful, polished stainless. There is a lanyard hold on here. It's a little bit on the smaller side. Most of the Benchmades have big old lanyard holes. This one is a little bit smaller. I don't know the exact diameter there, but might have a little bit harder time with the paracord and stuff. So there you go. Pretty much wraps it up. I do like the knife a lot, but I think I'd much prefer the full-size Onslaught with a plain edge blade, just for my own personal preference. But it is a good quality piece of cutlery. So if you're interested in Benchmade specifically, and you never saw this model, it's worth checking out for sure. If you own either the mini or the full-size Onslaught, let me know down in the comments what you think of yours. Let me know how long you've had it, things you like about it, things you don't like about it. I'm sure people would love to know. So thanks for watching. Hope you guys have an awesome day, and I will see you soon. Take care.